Fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land runway 13.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land 13.
Lewis here, Alpha, change of plans, crossover midfield, join right downwind runway 13.
Greetings everyone. Welcome to Simir Flyer. I am Dane Simir. Today's flight is a duplicate of what we did yesterday. Yesterday we did, let's just go over to the Navigraph map just to get us organized here. Yesterday we departed out of Lewiston, Idaho, and we went in a northeasterly direction up to this waypoint O'Dyer, and then we turned right and we landed at Missoula, Montana. Now yesterday's flight was a bit of a mess because I used Say Intentions. It's an IFR flight, and I used Say Intentions, and the winds were coming out. Let me just bring up the Missoula airport. The winds were coming out of the north this way. So I wanted to do the RNAV into runway 30, but for some reason the air traffic controller was almost forcing me to use 12 or 08, which I don't know why they were, because that didn't make sense. The winds are coming from the north. You should be using runway 30. Anyway, it was a bit of a mess on the approach, but we did make it in safely. Now today, the winds are favoring runway 12, so we will do the RNAV into runway 12. And this is kind of what it's going to look like. You can also see it's very cloudy today. In fact, we have a little bit of rain here in Lewiston. So that's where our destination is. Our departure out of Lewiston is runway 12. No, just a minute. That's switched. Why is that switched? Well, the winds are variable. It keeps switching around. So we're going to depart on 12, and we're going to get a vector from air traffic control to go direct to O'Dyer. Now, the air traffic control we're using today is not Say Intentions. I'm going to be using Beyond ATC as a comparison, just to see how everything is working. So without any further ado, let's get the show on the road. Okay, we're sitting at cold and dark start here. Let's just move that yoke out of the way. Mixture levers forward, props forward, throttles forward. Let's check. Let's turn on some lights. Well, first of all, let's turn on the power and the alternators, and let's turn on some lights. And then we're on both tanks, left and right. We do have full tanks today, and let's now get this airplane rocking and rolling. So let's do a fuel boost pump to get things started. There, the fuel is going in to the cylinders. There we are. We can turn the pumps off. Okay, the next thing we want to do is retard the throttles to, I like to put them at about 1/2 inch. And we'll turn on the magnetos over here, these two magnetos. And we will start with the right engine. So here's the right engine start coming up. I hear a good engine start. Let's just open this window. We can hear it a little better. All right, let's do the left engine. I just like to keep an eye on the manifold pressure and the RPMs. Yeah, we want the RPMs up at about 1,000 on the start. So we're at 1,000 there. All right, here we go with left engine. We've got a good start. All right, let's turn avionics on. While this is all powering up, let's just check our instruments. We've got fuel pressure is good on the right and it's coming up on the left. Temperature is good on the right and it's coming up on the left. Everything looks good there. Now what we want to do is load in our flight plan. So let's open up the EFB and let's go to sim brief. I've already, no, I actually haven't filed it yet. So let's just see here for a minute. Sim brief. My flight plan. Okay, we've got that. That's all been done. That's our flight plan there. What we didn't do is pre-file. I'm going to pre-file. Oh no, Beyond ATC isn't listed on here, so we cannot pre-file with Beyond ATC. Alright, that's fine. We have generated the flight though, so that's good. Alright, so let's come back in here. Let's look at that's Beyond ATC starting up, that little ding. Let's look at our flights. This is the one we want right here. Let's just check it to make sure it looks good. KLWS, KMSO. Okay, that looks good. Cruise is 11,000 feet. That looks good. That looks good. Here we are here. Runway 12, direct to O'Dyer, to Calip, to Soupy, to Pegby, and then into runway 12 at our destination. So that looks all good. That looks good. Alright, so that looks good. So let's now, I think we import the route. I don't usually use the EFB. Yeah, we did import the route. So let's just pop over here and see what that looks like. It's interesting how it's showing it. I'm not sure why it's showing it like that. I think what I would like to do is pre-file. No, that's back to there. Let's go back to home. No, let's go to here. Yeah, so those are the waypoints that are showing up as flight plan 0, 01, 002. I think what I'd like to do is remove that. Remove these waypoints. Rather than waypoints, I would prefer to have the actual procedure. Alright, so we're taking off on runway 12. We don't need a departure because we're going to be vectored. We're landing on runway 12. We need to add an approach. So it's going to be the RNAV 12 Yankee. And it's going to be from O'Dyer. Now that looks a lot better. Now instead of giving flight plan numbers, it's actually giving the actual names of the waypoints on the RNAV. So what I'd like to do now is go back to route. Oh no, sorry, no. We want to send this to ATC and avionics. Alright, so now you can see it's updated my avionics. O'Dyer, Calip, Supi, Begpi, runway 12. Alright, so the avionics is all set. Alright, we can now close this. I think we need some lights on in here today. Let's just turn the lights up a bit. Panel lights, instrument lights, avionics. I think that should be okay. Alright, we should be ready to go. We're going to be, they'll give us a step altitude. We won't be going right up to 11,000. They'll tell us which altitude to go up to. So let's get Beyond ATC opened up. I'll just move it over onto the screen. It's just loading up now, loading up the flight plan. It's loading in the airports and the initializing the traffic. Haven't used Beyond ATC for a little while, but I did want to compare it to Say Intentions. Alright, let's just pop it up here. So, I do not want auto respond. I want to respond to the air traffic controller, but I will have Beyond ATC tune the radios. So I'll do that. So let's contact air traffic control. So they're showing ground, tower, and center. So there's no clearance delivery, so we'll pick up our IFR clearance from ground. So let's tune in ground. I could click that button, but I'm not. I'm going to speak it. Lewiston ground, Baron, November 624 Delta Whiskey. I'd like to pick up my IFR clearance to Missoula.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Lewiston ground, cleared to Missoula. Radar vectors O'Dyer, then as filed. Maintain 5,000 feet. Expect 1,000 feet, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 123.905. Squawk 4725.
And then it gives you the readback right here, so you can easily use that to call back. Cleared to Missoula. Radar vectors O'Dyer, then as filed. Maintain 5,000. Expect 1,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 123.95. Squawk 4725.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, readback correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
And just putting in the squawk frequency right there. Well, so far so good. I'm ready to go, so I'm just going to move this out of the way.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, read back correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
I guess I should have responded to her. 624 Delta Whiskey is ready to taxi to the active runway 12. Okay, you didn't hear that. Let's try it again. Lewiston ground, November 624 Delta Whiskey is ready to taxi.
Lewiston ground, November 624 Delta Whiskey. You need to make a taxi request and check the frequency.
Taxi request. Lewiston ground, November 624 Delta Whiskey. Request taxi to runway 12. There's something I'm not understanding.
Lewiston ground, November 624 Delta Whiskey. You need to check the frequency and make a taxi request.
Check the frequency. I am on 1219. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm not sure why that isn't working. I'm doing something wrong, obviously. Requests, departure, runway change. I don't know. Oh, it wants me to take off on runway 30. Wow. Okay, that's fine. We'll use 30. Lewiston ground, November 624 Delta Whiskey. Request departure on runway 12.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Unable runway change at this time.
Alright, we'll take runway 30. 624 Delta Whiskey. Request taxi to runway 30.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Unable runway change at this time.
I don't understand. Let's click that and see what happens.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Request departure runway change.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Unable runway change at this time.
Okay, we are stuck in a loop. Alright, let's start. Let's November 624 Delta Whiskey, request startup only.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Engine start approved. Call when ready for taxi.
I guess it wants you to go through the procedure of starting up before. Alright. Engine startup approved. Call when ready for taxi. It wants you to repeat the instructions. Oh, now it's giving me request to run taxi to runway. November 624 Delta Whiskey, request taxi to runway.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, runway tree 0, taxi via Alpha. Hold short runway tree 0.
Runway 30, taxi via Alpha, hold short runway 30. Alright, so let's pop over. I guess it's a matter of knowing the procedure that's used for Beyond ATC. It's a little different than Say Intentions. So we're here, it wants us to taxi along Alpha and then hold short. What did she say? Taxi via Alpha, hold short of 30. Alright, so we've got a taxi via Alpha, and we could, I don't know if it'll allow us to, yeah, we'll depart from Gulf. Yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, so let's get going. We're burning up precious fuel here. Alright, so we need to make a left turn out here. Okay, I'm gonna move this off the screen, put it on the other monitor. Okay, taxi lights are on, nav lights are on, and the beacon lights are on. There's so many airplanes at this airport, it's hard to get around them. Let's go between these two. Okay, let's put this back over onto the
November
monitor.
624 Delta Whiskey, cross runway tree 0. Continue taxi via Alpha.
What a lot of airplanes in here. Cross runway tree 0, continue taxi via Alpha. I have to get down to tree 0 first. I have to go down here to Alpha. We're on Delta right now. It's a perfect IFR day. Rain and clouds, lots of clouds. I'm just going to adjust my barometric pressure. That should be good there. Alright, so when we come down here, we're going to make a left turn onto Alpha. So right now we're actually on Delta. Alright, we're turning onto Alpha now. To my right, which you really can't see because of the rain, is runway 8/26. So we're going to take this, and runway 3012, which is what we're using, is on my left. We're between the two runways. We're going down to Gulf. She told me to cross. She gave me permission to cross 30 when I got there, so. Look at that windsock. Oh boy, pretty stiff breeze blowing today. Pretty stiff breeze, wow. Yeah, I can see why it was changed to 30.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, cross runway 26 at Alpha. Continue taxi via. November 624 Delta Whiskey, Lewiston ground.
Cross runway 26 at Alpha, continue taxi.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact Lewiston Tower 119.4. Take care.
Contact Lewiston Tower 119.4. Alright, I'd say we're ready to roll here. So we're going to be cleared up to 5,000. Let's put that in here. So we're at 5,000. One notch of flaps, taxi lights coming off, landing lights coming on, strobe lights coming on. And now I'll call Lewiston Tower. Lewiston Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey, ready to take off.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Lewiston Tower, wind tree 45 at 5, fly heading tree 00, runway tree 0, cleared for takeoff.
Wind 345 at 5, fly heading 30, cleared for takeoff. Alright. Just have a look, make sure though, no one's coming in. Make sure the runway's clear. Alright, they're gonna vector us once we get up in the air. So on liftoff, we will retract the gear after we pass the piano keys at the end of the runway, and then we'll raise the flaps, activate the autopilot for heading mode. Alright, throttles are being advanced. Engines have come to life. Airspeed is alive. 70 knots. 80 knots. Rotate. We are airborne. We have a positive rate of climb. We passed the piano keys. Gears coming up. Flaps are coming up. Autopilot is coming on for heading, and we are going up at
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact Seattle Center 123.9 or 5.
123.9 or 5. So it automatically changed it for me. Seattle Center, November 624 Delta Whiskey with you at 2,500.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Seattle Center. Good day, radar contact. Climb maintain 11,000, altimeter tree 002.
Climb and maintain 11,000, altimeter 3002. Okay, we can go up to 11,000.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, turn right, heading 055. Expect further clearance in about 3 miles.
Turn right heading 055, expect further clearance in 3 miles. Alright, returning to 055. And let's set the altimeter setting 3002. Alright, we're going up to 11,000, climbing at 1,500 feet per minute. Let's show you on Navigraph what's happening. So there we are. We've made our takeoff from runway 30. We're turning right to 055. And he may give us further vectors. But we certainly are eventually going to O'Dyer. And from the airport, the heading is 5.
November 48 Papa Alpha, flag present heading, climb maintain flight level 310. Expect further clearance in about 150 miles.
Now that, what you're hearing...
Fly present heading. Climb maintain flight
You're
level
hearing other
310.
aircraft.
November 48 Papa Alpha.
And it is based on live traffic. Okay, reduce our power settings to 24 and 24. And 24 and 24. Manifold pressure of 34 and 34. We are definitely socked in here. Sorry, I left it on the map too long. I think what I'd like to do is activate the nav and have the aircraft take me to O'Dyer, so we'll try that. So the airplane's probably going to turn a little bit to the right. Yeah, we're going direct to O'Dyer. That's our track that we're on right now. We've got some heavy clouds and rain. Got some really bad stuff over here to our left. A little bit off the track. I think what I'd like to do is do a direct to O'Dyer. Tune in O'Dyer, and we'll activate a direct to O'Dyer. So we've got 44 minutes to go to O'Dyer. And we've got some icing happening. So we better quickly activate the de-icing equipment. So we need pitot heat, fuel vent de-icer, stall warning de-icer, windshield de-icer, prop de-icer. We have a temperature of 5 degrees Celsius. And we've got heat coming into the cabin. Right now it's showing cold, but that should, temperature in the cabin should come up. Pilot air, cabin heat, defrosters are on. Let's close.
November 214, November X-ray, Seattle Center. Expect hilly tree, runway 21.
So that, again, that's
Expect hilly
communication
tree,
with other
runway
aircraft.
21. November 214, November X-ray.
We're coming up on 11,000. We've still got some little bit of frosty ice on the windshield. Got a frame rate of 72, 74, 76. Perfectly acceptable for me. So the only confusing part was when we were sitting at the airport wanting taxi instructions. I guess there's a procedure that we really have to follow. First you have to request startup, and then because normally IFR is usually airliners and they do request startup. GA airplanes not so much. I'll just show you on Navigraph what's happening. Yeah, you can see all those clouds. Heavy clouds all in here. Looks like we are at about, that's 90% coverage. So we're at about 50, yeah, I don't know, maybe 75, 80% cloud cover along the route. Oh, well, just a minute, let's put in the right flight level. We're at 11,000, so let's bring this down. The cloud cover will change. See how it changes as you bring it, push it up or bring it down. 13,000, 12,000. There's 11,000. That's where we're at right now. So we still have about 80%, 75% cloud cover.
Horizon Air 2053, turn right, heading 050, climb and maintain flight level 280.
That's Horizon Air. So
Turn
we can
right,
hear chatter
heading
in the background.
050,
You can
climb and
control
maintain
that.
flight
You
level
can turn that
280,
down.
Horizon Air 2053.
Horizon Air 2053, cleared direct temple.
Let's go
Resume
back to
own
the
navigation.
cockpit.
Cleared direct temple.
I have a
Resume own
tendency to leave
navigation.
it on the map
Horizon
too
Air
long.
2053.
Alright, so while we're traveling along here, I'm going to pause the video. There's no point you watching all of this. I'll pause the video until we get closer to O'Dyer. So we'll see you back here very shortly. He just gave me instructions to turn left, heading 025. Turn left, heading 025, vectors for Missoula Airport. Now, why is he giving me
November
vectors?
624 Delta Whiskey, cleared direct O'Dyer. Resume own navigation.
Clear direct O'Dyer, resume all navigation. Oh, I know why he told me to turn 025, because I was a little bit off my intended track. Let's see what we're doing here. Yeah, we're heading to O'Dyer. Let's make sure we remove that. Yeah, O'Dyer has been activated. Yeah, just make sure. if I could ask him what runway is being used at Missoula. What I don't like about Beyond ATC is in comparing it to Say Intentions, you kind of forget what frequency you're on. You forget what controller you're talking to, where Say Intentions always tells you that up at the top. It would be nice if this gave you that information. So I know we're on Seattle Center, and yeah, we're on Seattle Center, so I'll call them, see if they can tell me what runway is in use. Seattle Center, November 624 Delta Whiskey, could you advise the active runway at Missoula?
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Missoula International's active runway is 12.
Active runway is 12. November 624 Delta Whiskey. Alright, so I was able to ask him that. That's a good thing.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, you've not yet been assigned an arrival runway. We'll come back with a descent clearance closer to your top of descent. Horizon Air 2053, contact Seattle Center 119.225.
Arrival runway yet.
Contact Seattle Center 119.225, Horizon Air 2053.
That's interesting. So I'm ahead of myself, and they're telling me that I haven't been assigned an arrival runway yet, which is correct.
Pack Coast 150, Seattle Center, expect IGVEP 7, runway 17 right.
Now, let me see if I can change that.
Expect IGVEP 7, runway 17 right,
Background
Pack Coast
chatter.
150.
Let's go into settings, maybe. I'm not sure where you go
Airspread
for that.
510, contact Seattle
Traffic
Center
is on. So I
132.6.
could actually turn traffic right off.
Contact Seattle Center
Park density,
132.6,
departure
airspread
density,
510.
arrival
Take
density,
care.
en route density. Let's turn this down to 1. And arrivals, turn it down to 1. Departures, turn it down to 1. And park density, turn it down to 1. And okay, let's see if that does anything. Not sure if it does or not. Okay, once again, we're a little too far away for you guys to hang in and watch the video, so I'm going to pause it and come back shortly. So just a quick check-in, show you what's happening. We are getting closer. Look at this weather that we are flying through. It is completely horrible. I've got my landing lights on and my taxi lights on. We are definitely on IFR. And if you look at the weather radar, you can see all this bad stuff right here that we're flying through. We're coming to it. Quickly show you Navigaph. We are getting closer and closer to O'Dyer. Pretty soon, I'm sure the controller will give me the active runway that's in use. Navigaph is saying 12 is no longer used. it's actually saying that runway 30 and 08 are in use. So we'll have to see what the controller gives us. Right now I checked with ATIS and they're saying that runway 12 is the active runway. And they're also saying that it's VFR conditions. That's what ATIS was saying. Here, I'll just play it for you. I'll just play that. I've got it on COM 2.
10. Ceiling 5,500 broken. 8000 overcast. Temperature 1 tree. Simply 02. Altimeter 29904. VFR conditions. Landing and departing runway 12. Bird activity in vicinity of airport. Advise on initial contact you have information Lima.
But yet still Navigraph is saying 12 is no longer used.
Missoula Airport information Lima. 2005 Zulu.
Turn that off.
Wind 345 at 7.
Wind 345 at 7. That would mean runway 130. Why is she still saying 12? Anyway, we're not quite there yet, so we'll be back shortly. I'm going to pause the video.
624 Delta Whiskey, Seattle Center.
It's back
Expect
on.
radar vectors.
Expect radar vectors for Delta Whiskey. Oh, so he's going to vector me in. Seattle Center, 4 Delta Whiskey. Could you advise the active runway for Missoula, please?
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Missoula International's active runway is 12.
Active runway is 12, 4 Delta Whiskey. So it's still saying 12.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, 12 is the runway you're already assigned. Unable runway change.
Affirmative. Runway 12 is assigned for Delta Whiskey. I wasn't planning on changing it.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, 12 is the runway you're already assigned. Unable runway change.
Oh my gosh. It's in a loop.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact Salt Lake Center 133.4.
133.4. So it has automatically switched to 133.4. Salt Lake Center, November 624 Delta Whiskey is with you at 11,000.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Salt Lake Center copy.
Okay, so they now have us, and they're controlling us now. So far, so good. Let's see. We have 4 3/4 minutes to go to O'Dyer, which is right here. To O'Dyer, 15 and a half nautical miles. Oh, the weather radar is clearing up nicely, so maybe it is VFR conditions at Missoula. It must be. It sure isn't up here. Over there, not sure what that is. Does this have, let's see, that's weather. No, that turns it off. That's standby. That's test. That's on. That's nav. You know, I've been flying this Baron for quite a while, and the engines are still in good repair, 100%. Oh, look at that. There's a clearing below us. What's the temperature outside? Yeah, we're still below freezing. That's -10. We're at about -8. Yeah, we're at -8. And we're in heavy clouds, so we need the de-icers on.
November 624 Delta Whiskey.
There we go.
Missoula landing runway 12.
Missoula landing runway 12. Okay.
November 624 Delta Whiskey altimeter 299er4, expect radar vectors 4.
Altimeter 299er4, expect radar vectors.
Negative runway 12.
Okay. Altimeter 299er4, expect radar vectors for runway 12. They want you to be very accurate. So they're going to give us radar vectors. I think we could slow our speed down now. Let's bring the manifold pressure down to 2.5. And the RPMs, I think we could bring that down to
November 624 Delta Whiskey, descend maintain 10,000 feet, altimeter 299er4.
Descend, maintain 10,000 feet, altimeter 299er4. So we need to go down 1,000 feet. On our way down at 500 feet per minute. I'm turning onto the approach course of 120. I don't know if they like me doing that, but they haven't given me a vector. So we shall see. how angry they get at me. Just trying to get myself established on the CDI of RNAV 1, 2. It's actually 117. All right, I'm going to now activate the CALIP. I'm going to activate CALIP. And put the approach button on. So we are heading straight for CALIP. We passed O'Dyer, we're heading for CALIP. Then it's going to be Soupy, then Begby, and then runway 12.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, descend and maintain 6,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 6,000 feet.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact Missoula Tower 118.4.
Contact Missoula Tower 118.4. Missoula Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey is established on the RNAV 1-2 approach.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Missoula Tower, wind tree 45 at 7, runway 12 cleared to land.
Wind 345 at 7, runway 12 cleared to land. Okay, at this point we need to turn. We're past the freezing level now. We can turn off our pitot heat, all of these. No, we'll leave pitot heat on. Turn those off. And we've got one notch of flaps in. And when he's to reduce our speed. The altitude of the airport is 3,200 feet. Here's the airport ahead of us. We are now at Begpy, which shows right there. Okay. Gear is coming down. We have full flaps. Decision altitude is actually 3,000. It's 200 feet above the runway. Okay, we've got full RPM. Manifold pressure is retarded. We are cleared to land. Winds are 345. And it is VFR conditions. Alright, at this point, I'm going to kick auto out of the cockpit, turn the autopilot off. I have control. Well, I must say this was a much better flight than the Say Intentions flight. Only because of the approach mix-up. I'm a little low. I'm a lot low, and my speed is low. Let's get control of the airplane here. Alright, let's get lined up. Alright, let's settle down now. Tried for a good landing. I think that was a good landing. Okay, let's
November 624 Delta Whiskey, exit left at Bravo.
I don't see a Bravo.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, exit left at Bravo.
Exit left at Bravo. Okay, it's Bravo on the simulator taxiway, but it's actually Golf in real life. Okay, let's pull up to the hold short. And clean up the airplane.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact ground 121.9er. Have a good day.
Contact ground 121.9er. Have a good day. Alright, let's clean up the airplane first. Okay, flaps stowed. Pitot heat can come off. Pitot heat's coming off. strobe lights are off, taxi lights are on, landing lights are off. Okay, let's contact ground. Where are we going? We're going to general aviation. Missoula ground, 624 Delta Whiskey is clear of the active. Request taxi to general aviation.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, welcome to Missoula. Stay parking or advise if need assignment.
See, we're not an airliner, so... Request taxi at my discretion.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, stay again, gate number.
.624 Delta Whiskey, any gate.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, gate 42, taxi via Bravo.
Gate 42, taxi via Bravo. Yeah, so the problem that we have is that it doesn't have the proper AIRAC terminal charts, so it's telling me to taxi via Bravo. That's number one problem. Number two problem is because I'm general aviation, it doesn't recognize that. It thinks I'm an airliner and I don't need a gate. I just need general aviation parking, which is right here. So that's where I'm going to park. But generally speaking, I think this went relatively well. I think the communication was good. It appears that Beyond ATC needs you to respond the way they tell you, the instructions they give you. They want to hear that response back. You can't shortcut it. So that's the only thing to remember when using Beyond ATC. And then, but, you know, it really wasn't that bad. The only thing is it's really not designed for general aviation traffic. It's still designed for airliners. But that's going to change sometime this year, apparently. I'm just going to pull up here and park. Looks like they're waiting for me there. I'm going to park right here. How's that for parking? Alright, let's shut things down. Mixture lean. Props retarded. Throttles retarded. Magneto switches are off. Nav lights are off. Taxi lights are off. Beacon lights are off. Avionics off. Alternators off. Battery is off. Okay, thank you very much for joining me on Flight Simir Flyer. I'm Dane Simir. We'll catch you the next time. Keep your wings up and your wheels down. See you all.
Foxtrot Bravo, Bravo Tower, fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo, Bravo.
Charlie Zulu, November, clear to land runway 13.
Charlie Zulu, November, clear to land 13.
Lewis here, Alpha, change of plans, crossover, midfield, join right downwind, runway 13.